Hi, I'm Bob Trask, and this is our weekly reset. Today, we're going to talk about something pretty darned exciting to me. The title of this talk is You Are Controlling Synchronicity. You are in control of synchronicity. Synchronicity doesn't just happen out of the blue. There's a platform for it. There's something going on just beneath the surface. We're going to talk about that. And there's two parts to this mystery that we call synchronicity. And here's the good news. We can control those two. We can turn them on and we can turn them off. That means that we can control synchronicity. So if we want to connect with someone, we can make it happen. If we want to know something, we can make that happen. Almost an unlimited amount of events are available. Unlimited number of events available through synchronicity. Let's just stay with that for just a minute before I rattle on. I know that you had synchronicity or some kind of weird thing happened to you and you said, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" I'll tell you an interesting thing that happened to me most recently, yesterday. I decided that we would talk about synchronicity today. So I went online, did some studies, and looked in some of the tomes that I have, manuals, and thought about back over my life and tried to get all of everything together and all of the latest information about synchronicity so that I could be really on top of it for you. So I did that. I got that all done. And then I started to write. And as I started to write, the phone rang. And it was my friend Marilyn Shear, who's in one of my classes. And I thought, I'll talk to her later. And I thought, no, I better get it. So I answered it and she said, "Bob, I won't take too much of your time. I just wanted to talk to you about something that I was just reading here that I think you'll be interested in. It's about synchronicity." Like I said, she's in one of my classes and she and I are very, very close friends. So obviously, well, I was doing my investigations on synchronicity. She was hearing this little synchronicity thing going off in her head, or it's the other way around, or we were both doing it together. We were in parallel as we moved forward. Now, here's the thing, and I talked about this last week. Each of us are living in our own encapsulated environments. Each of us are living in our own worlds. I mean, I'm living in my world, you're living in your world. My world is made up entirely of my experiences and my ideas about what those experiences are. Wait a minute, what happened here? Oh, there I am. I thought I disappeared. So you're living with your memories and your ideas and all your opinions and your judgments and your beliefs, and I'm living with all of mine. And the two of us are floating around in this world, and sometimes we reach across and touch each other and go into our individual worlds if we're willing to listen. I mean, people don't listen. When people are talking, the other person's sitting there waiting for their turn to talk, nodding and going, "I got something to say. I got something to say." But if we're willing to really see that that other person is in their world and we're in our world, and there's very little combination, very little connection, very little cohesion unless we make that happen. And what I'm talking about is synchronicity. Because like Marilyn called me because she felt me or I felt her, but we're in parallel worlds and we came together, and that's synchronicity. And that's so beautiful. That's so powerful. And it's available for us. And I said, there are two parts to this mystery. And here's the good news. We can turn them on and we can turn them off. So those two elements of synchronicity, they are frequencies and the law of attraction. Frequencies and the law of attraction. A non-religious spirituality is spreading around the world, around the planet. Non-religious spirituality, common sense spirituality is spreading around the planet, and people everywhere are waking up and they're finding their minds embracing new and exciting realities. And unfortunately, a lot of them are waking up alone and they're going, whoa, I'm seeing this whole new thing going on here. And I'm kind of feeling this whole new thing. And I don't have a lot of people on board with me. Well, if you know those people, get them on board with us, because we're part of the ship that's plowing through that sea. And if you're with me here today, you're part of that new world, and you're among those who are pioneering this awakening. Okay, let's talk about synchronicity. Carl Jung coined the words collective unconsciousness, which describes that there's an underlying mind to which we all belong. In the 1920s, he defined synchronicity as uncanny coincidences or an unlikely occurrence of parallel events. Uncanny coincidences or an unlikely occurrence of parallel events. That was back in 1920. So he was ahead of his game. One activity of this consciousness is things happening in strange and unpredictable ways, isn't it? For example, have you recently noticed synchronicities? That is, have you thought of somebody or something that had not occurred to you in the longest time, and then suddenly that person or that event popped up in your life? Did you think of an old friend and then got a phone call from them? These sorts of things, and many like them, are called synchronicities. Synchronicities are closely related to the law of attraction and even to quantum physics. That makes sense, doesn't it? And I don't want to get too abstract on you here today, but you know that quantum reality is that all there are atoms, and then there are the little particles that make up the atoms, like photons and electrons and protons and quarks, and I could go on and on. But the truth of it is that all of those parts that make up the atom, they tend not to exist except as you think about them, as you see them. Like an electron can be here, and then it's over here, and then it's both places at the same time. This isn't possible, except that, stay with me just for a minute. If subatomic particles can be in two places at the same time, then isn't that synchronicity? Isn't that? And when you think of your friend Barb, and your friend Barb calls you, isn't that synchronicity? And isn't that her being in a different place than you, but you both are connected? Like those electrons are both connected. So it's real. Synchronistic events often occur as a way for our universe to communicate with us and to guide us along the correct path of our spiritual journey. Because we're not alone here. I mean, I know there's some people that feel like they're alone, and I understand how their upbringing, because inside of their encapsulation, they were told they don't belong and they're not agreeable to people around them, and so they've learned to just turn inside, and they think they're alone. There's a lot of people like that, and boy, it's just really unfortunate, because we're a family, and without you, I have no meaning, I have no purpose, and without me, you have no purpose. We need each other. We connect with each other. Even though we're in our own separate worlds, we have things that we give to each other from our worlds. Our wisdom, our intelligence, our learning, our ideas, our inventions, and our love, our connection, our caring. So when this happens, when we have that synchronistic thing, it's a sign that our lives are on the right track, because you couldn't get those synchronistic events unless your mind and your heart and your spirit were on the right track. You have to be aligned with nature, with the universe. When I say nature, incidentally, I capitalize the N, because for me, there's only one God, and that's nature. And nature is not describable. We think it's a tree and some grass. That's just a part of it. Nature is all. It's the invisible, powerful presence, the creative mind that we all belong to. So when we're on the right track, then nature is taking care of us. Deepak Chopra, you know Deepak Chopra, great doctor down in La Jolla, California, but God, what a great guy. Incredible intuition, incredible mind. He said synchronicity is choreographed by a great, pervasive intelligence that lies at the heart of nature and is manifest through each of us through intuitive knowledge. I'm going to read that again. Synchronicity is choreographed by a great, pervasive intelligence. Choreographed, not accidental, choreographed by a great, pervasive intelligence that lies at the heart of nature and is manifest in each of us through intuitive knowledge. That's pretty darned exciting to me. And our frequencies, when they become finely tuned, will coordinate with other frequencies, and then things come out to us that we've been thinking about. This synchronistic event is called the law of attraction. In simple terms, positive thoughts attract positive experiences, and negative thoughts attract negative experiences. The idea is that when we're on the same frequency as an outside reality, like me with Marilyn Shear, we become one with each other. Our wisdoms, our minds begin to lace together. That's synchronicity. And it's pretty wonderful. And it teaches us how to create new things in our lives. Synchronicity teaches us how to create new things in our lives. When we understand how the law of attraction works, we'll never be surprised by synchronicity again. Instead, you'll realize that as sure as gravity causes objects to fall down, the law of attraction draws energies together. And I think we should look at that just for a minute, because I'm working on some really serious things in my life right now. Some people that are ill, and I need to do whatever I can do to send the energy and the love and the healing presence that comes through me into them. And it occupies so much of my mind and so much of my spirit, doing what I need to do to be there for those people. And so what I need to do is I need to have the law of attraction working for me. For instance, if I see one of those persons as sick, and I'm saying, get well. Boy, I don't like you being sick. Get well. What's the law of attraction? I'm attracting what I'm thinking. So I must see that person as whole, well, perfect, complete, and healthy. I must see that, and I must hold that. And I can't afford to go into doubt. I have to hold that. And that is the law of attraction. That'll attract that. Then the energy and the grace that flows through me is clean. It's not, I know you're crippled, so this is coming to you as partially crippled to kind of help you. Yeah, that's not helping anybody. That grace that comes through me has to be clean. I have to know that this person is good and that this person is well and healthy. I have to know that. That's the law of attraction. The law of attraction draws energies together, like energies. So when you're driving down the street and a billboard catches your eye and provides a clue to a problem you've been contemplating, that's synchronicity, and that's the law of attraction. So I've got this problem I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with it in a dark, negative, oh my God, if I don't find the answer to this, my life's going to come to now. What I'm doing is I'm looking at that problem and I'm saying, that problem came in a package. And in that same package is the solution. I've got the problem out of the package. I need to go back and find the solution. I do that a lot. Mary catches me at that. I get the noodles out or the whatever out, or the ramen out, and I'm doing all my stuff. And she said, "Did you read the instructions?" I said, "There aren't any instructions." She said, "Right here in the bag, instructions." So the problem and the instructions come in the same bag. So we need to look at the problem not as, oh my God, this is terrible, I don't know, but look at the problem and say, what are the other aspects of this? What are the other sides of this? I'm opening myself up to synchronicity. I'm opening myself up to being open to the universe, letting stuff come in. That's synchronicity, and that's the law of attraction. I've then attracted what I'm looking for. See, you and I live in this constant moving sea of energy. Everything that seems to be material is made of energy. Nothing is solid. Nothing is solid. You're in a room right now, if you look around at the walls, they are not solid. They are moving. The energy in them is moving. And if you say, well, then let's take the energy away. Good, take the energy away. You now have no walls because the walls are made of energy. And thoughts are energy. And emotions are energy. And desires are energy. And as you know, energy can never be created. You can't create energy, and you can't destroy it. It only changes its form. It only changes its form. Imagine then this constant swirling, ever alive sea of energy that contains every thought that's ever been offered, every desire or intention that was ever set into motion is like an individual wave in this divisive, diversive, and powerful sea. It's just so powerful. It's everything. It's all. It's everything. There's nothing that's not the energy of that sea. And interestingly enough, for me, pardon me if I go a little bit astray here, the energy, all that energy, the trees, the mountains, the eagles, the sea, the whales, the beautiful girl, the handsome guy, the dear, sweet old woman and old man holding hands as they walk slowly down. All of that is in the sea. It's all elements of that sea of energy. All of it. Nothing is different. Nothing is separate. It's all together. And each element of it is unique and different. There's no two anythings alike. Ever. No two anythings. I'm looking at a doorknob. There's no two doorknobs alike. I'm looking at my fingernail. There are no two fingernails anywhere alike. There's no two little motes of dust alike. There's no two snowflakes alike. There's no two thumbprints alike. There's no voice prints alike. There's no eye prints alike. There's no anything alike. So on this big sea that everything's moving around, everything is unique. Everything is unique. So how do they get connected? They get connected through our acceptance, through our absolute open heart acceptance, and then they begin to coordinate with us, and then we have these synchronistic events. And all of that synchronicity and law of attraction is a frequency, and that's the second part. Joan Borysenko, poor, what an amazing woman. I so love her. If you take a single step towards positive change, she says, if you take a single step toward positive change, that divine energy will take 100 steps towards you. If you take a single step toward positive change, if you're looking for an answer out there, here it is. If you take a single step toward positive change, that divine energy that you've just opened, that you've just attracted, will take 100 steps toward you. new worlds and unbelievable possibilities will open up for you. The synchronicities that will begin appearing in your life will become a source of delight and amazement. Thank you, Joan Borisenko. Every particle of this energy vibrating at its own rate of frequency in the sea of mind is what makes the law of attraction so available to your life today. Now, I want to just stop for a minute and talk about what do we need to do? What do I need to do? What do me, Bob? What do I need to do? Well, since I'm in the sea of energy, and the sea of energy has frequencies, and all of those frequencies, each thing has their own frequencies. If I've got my radio turned off, I'm not picking up any stations. And that's the person that I talked about. That's pulled back into themselves. I'm not picking up any stations. There's not going to be any synchronicities or miracles or wonders in my life. No wonders. But if I can be open, if I can flow with the river of life, if I can be accepting, if I can be one with you, instead of judging you, if I can look at you and say, well, you're in your own world and I'm in my own world, but your world is complete and perfect for you, and I need to be open to that, then you become open to me, and then these things between us begin to happen. Even though we're separate, these things between us begin to happen. So I need to be open. I need to be open. I need to be love. I need to, in every way that I can, I need to stop judging. I need to stop judging. I need to start thinking about you as this or that, or something in my mind that I've got going on, some old tapes that are running that judge you because I once knew someone like you, and you and get rid of all that. Everybody's human. There's no two anything's alike. And if I can find a way to get to you, to open you up and get you to be one with me. I remember this old grouchy guy I was with once. He was a doctor, and God, what a grouch he was. And I went to see him for a situation, and he was just rah, rah, rah. And I just thought he's so inside of himself. But I just kept asking him questions, and I just kept hanging around. And I just kept asking him questions, and I was asking him questions about medicine and about other things. And eventually, I very gently started sliding it over to how do you think like that, doctor? How did you develop a mind that's able to think sort of in abstracts around corners like that? That's really interesting, because most people just see the one dimension, but you're seeing levels of other dimensions. And then he opened up to me, because nobody'd asked him those questions. Then he opened up to me. And he finally had to say, I got to get out of here. I've got patients waiting. But because a lot of time went by, because we spent a lot of time talking. So we connected. And for me, I got to experience a human being that's different than any other human being that ever will and ever has lived on this life, on this planet. That was what I got. And that's how synchronicity works. And when you know that synchronicity is nothing more than a natural and predictable byproduct of the overall powerful law of attraction, then you'll understand the law of attraction. You'll never again be surprised by synchronicity. Instead, you'll realize that as surely as gravity causes objects to fall down, the law of attraction draws like energies together. Some people are, and you know this, are really proud of their ability to find just the right parking places. That again is synchronicity, acting from the law of attraction, like frequencies attracting one another. Alike frequencies attract one another. Like frequencies attract one another. So my job is to keep my frequency clean and open and clear so I can get all these other stations coming in into my mental radio. And some people think synchronicity is really rare, but it isn't. It's the same process that orchestrates every act of creation. The vibration of your desire draws to itself all vibrations that are cooperative with its fulfillment, which means that what you desire, you are subconsciously attracting to yourself. And what you ask for, you're meant to fully realize. That's the way the world works. And we might call that karma, if we define karma as the unfulfilled parts of our eternal lives. When the vibration you're offering and the outcome you're seeking are in harmony, they're destined to come together, thanks to the law of attraction and the synchronicity of like events. Barbara Marciniak said, everything changes when you start to emit your own frequency rather than absorbing the frequencies around you. When you start imprinting your intent on the universe rather than receiving an imprint from existence. But we got to be careful here, because when we're in a negative mindset, we'll automatically attract frequencies we don't want. And this is still the law of attraction. There are days when everything seems to go wrong. You hit every red light, and our very best efforts at creation grind to a halt. And these are synchronistic events too. Like the mirror, the universe is a perfect and exact reflection of our internal resistance. That's because the limitless sea of energy that creates and sustains things does not discriminate between negative and positive, simply brings us the people, events, and experiences that harmonize with the energy we're sending out. Nikola Tesla said, our entire biological system and brain and the earth itself work on the same frequencies. And the key to recognizing synchronicity is simply to accept that everything is a participatory universe that's listening and responding. The outer world and everything in it is a mirror of our internal state of being. That means if we don't like what's happening out there, we hold the power to change it by doing our frequency a change, by changing our frequency. How do we do that? We've been through this before, but I'm going to repeat it. Visualizations. I visualize what I want. And I hold that, not only that visualization, but I hold the experience inside of me of what it'll be like when that visualization comes true. That sends out a level of frequency into the universe. And then I affirm that. I keep that strong by affirming it. Mental affirmations that I'm saying daily. Every affirmation that's powerful and works starts with the two words, I am, because it's about me. I want these people to be healed. I am filled with healing energy and emitting that now to XYZ person or persons. You gotta be on the field playing. You can't be up in the bleachers. And then lastly, and this is so important, gratitude. I've got to find every way in my life to be grateful for everything I do, because that's where power comes from. When I have my gratitude really working, then I go into a state of joy. And when I go into a state of joy, that's when my life is working. So finally, I want to leave you with this. Paramahansa Yogananda, who I consider to be a real friend, said, since you're alone, since you alone are responsible for your thoughts, only you can change them. You'll want to change them when you realize that each thought creates according to its own nature. Remember that the law works at all times and that you are always demonstrating according to the kind of thoughts you habitually entertain. Therefore, start now to think only those thoughts that will bring you health and happiness. Therefore, start now to think only those thoughts that will bring you health and happiness. Start now. Thank you. Thanks for being with me. I hope this talk on synchronicity, on the law of attraction, on being in charge of your frequencies, I think that's certainly been a good boost for me and for my mind, and I hope it is for you. Please stop by bobtrask.com and leave a donation if you don't mind. And if you are looking at this on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe so that I can keep in touch with you. Thank you. Please go with my love, and I'll see you next week.